All right. Good morning, everybody. So yesterday we had a Mishnah talking about Hafara. That when it comes to Hafara, there's a machlekes between Rab Nosson and the Chachamim, Lagabe, whether the neder has to be chal first in order for him to revoke it, or be chalable, right? If that makes sense, if that such a word makes sense, right? In other words, he says, I won't get any hana from one of the fathers, right? If I get enough from you, whatever it is. So there's a condition. If the condition is met, then the neder is chal. So one says you can go ahead and revoke it. Even before that, that was a chachamim. The Reb Nosson says you got to wait. Then we had a case of by a chachamim to be shaya. Does that same machlokes apply? Does the same machlokes apply or not? So we brought there was a Rava and Rav Papi, right? So they each had a discussion as to whether, right? They had a discussion over there whether it's the same machlokes or not. So Rav Papi says it's the same. It's the machlokes b'afara. Bedachu by afar. So Leiva Masayle. So we are in Sadi Yom Aleph. This is today's blot. Should be smack in the middle. We'll see. Leiva Masayle. So Leiva Masayle. Let's see. Kainem Sheni Nana Leplani Lemisha Shalov. Someone says, I'm usher to so and so, and whoever is, I'm going to be shoyel. I'm going to be usher to that chacham. Now, so it says over there, Nishal Rishon, Nishal Sheni. Over there is Mishal on the Rishon, and then Shal Sheni. So what it means is first he has Mishal. Let's say I make a neder, right? Not to get any hana from John, right? And then I go to Yigal to be Shailet. So therefore, the first nether is on John, and then when we shall Yigal to matter the nether for John, I'm usher from you, right? So it says over there, Nishal al Rishon v'achar kach Nishal Sheni. First, I have to be shayel on the nether when it comes to John, and then when it comes to Yigal. Now, v'yamart Nishal al Bishal chal nether, and if you want to say they could be shayel on something even if it wasn't triggered yet, it wasn't chal yet. Iboy al had Nishal Bereisha, Iboy al hay Nishal Bereisha. I can go ahead and be shayel on each one, right? It says first the Rishon and then the Sheni because the Sheni wasn't chal yet. That's why I have to wait for the Sheni. So Gemara says no. Maybe when it says first or second doesn't mean necessarily, in other words, the first one was the one on John and the second was on Yigal. Maybe it just means whichever one I was shayel first, that one is shayel. So maybe I could have been shayel for Yigal first, right? And then then somebody else. So the Gemara says, so let's say another proof. So Ella, the person says, I will not get any hana. Right? I say, I will get any from an Eddie. And Haredi Nazir L'Ksheshalov. And then once I ask to be Shayel, I am going to become a Nazir. So it says over there, Nishal Nijo V'Chaka Nishal Nizro. Over there, there's no confusion, right? First, I am Shayel have to be on the Neder. And then after I'm Shayel, then the Naziros kicks in, and then I'm Shayel the Naziros. And if you want to say they can be shel on something that's not even chal, iboy al nijo, shel bereisha, iboy al nazar yishol bereisha. If you want, it can be shel on either on the nether or the naziros. So Rab Nosson, so maybe it says no, maybe that's Rab Nosson. Rab Nosson is the one who says he can't be shel when it comes. So maybe that Bryce is only going to Rab Nosson, not the Chachamim, and we don't know whether the Chachamim would agree or not. And Amar Ravina, Amar Limer Hachi, Amar Avucha Mishmei, the Rav Papi. Machlokes be'afara. The machlokes is by the case of hafara. Now, it's only by hafara is the machlokes whether it has to be chal yet or not. But however, to be shad to a chacham, divrei hakol meifir v'yafal b'shalei chal nether. Everyone agrees they can go ahead and be shayel, even though the nether is not chal yet. It was not triggered yet, right? It was not, even though it's conditional based on something. It can be shayel even before it gets triggered.
That's what husband does to his wife. In a way,
but that's by hafara, right? Hafara, we say, but sheila works differently than hafara. When to be shayel, right? Hafara means it was never done; it was revoked, right? Sheila means it's matir from now. Opposite, right? So we say, so the chsiv, the pasuk says lo yachel devara, because the pasuk says lo yachel devara. In other words, over there, so Tiber goes, so you can be Mayfair because it says it has to be Chal. So it says lo yachal devaro. So the Meimra, the lo yahavi be Ma'isa, right? Nevertheless, that there was no Ma'isa yet, there wasn't Chal yet. Lo yachal devaro, just his word, and therefore he can go ahead and basically reverse his words. So it doesn't have to be Chal yet; it can be just merely stated. So Meisvei, now we're going to ask the same two kashas we asked earlier. So Kainem Sheneni, the Pliny, a person says, I'm making that, and I will not get enough Plony. Ulumisha Nisha love, and also whoever I go ahead and ask to be shell that, I will go ahead and be also that person. So Nisha Risha Mechach Nisha Sheni. So we just said earlier you can be shell on something that hasn't applied yet. But over here it says you can only be shell on the Rishon, right? Which means that the first nether, right? That was the one. Right? To be matir. To have it matter, to have the nether be matter by right, like right. So over there, So over there, so it says the Rishon Sheni. So it says I can only be shoyel on the first one and not the second one. So the chayr means because you have to go in order because the second one wasn't chal yet. So the Gemara says no. So it can be either one. You just said you can be shoyel on something which hasn't applied yet. You said Divrei Kol will say that. So why does it say you have to be shoyel on the Rishon first? It could be on the Sheni. You can go first. The Gemara says no. Me having the Harishon Sheni. No, maybe when it means Rishon and Sheni means the first one that was annulled. That was the Rishon, even if it was the latter one that wasn't triggered yet. So Meisvei, as the kasha, final kasha, kadim shin another nazir person says, I will not get hanaf and ploni from a certain person, and then when I'm shayel on that nether, I will become a nazir. So nishal al nija ve'acharka nishal al nizo. Over there, he has to be shayel first on his nether, and then afterwards, once the tanai of this news kicks in to make him a nazir, then he can be shayel on the nizo. V'mai. It should be either way. A person should be allowed to go ahead and be shayel which one, because he said he can be shayel on something because just his words if it was not triggered yet. So therefore, the Gemara answers or ends up in a tiyufta. Yes, it is a kasha to say that Kuli Alma agrees that you can be shayel something even prior to it kicks in, because l'chara we have this brisa that says that you could only do it if it applies, and then be shayel on it after it already kicked in. Fine. Now your Mishnah, the final Mishnah of the Masech. In the beginning, now we're talking about the Mishnah Rishayna and Mishnah Achrayna. The Rishayna in the beginning, when the woman was believed, that's what we're going to see. So 3 women were believed; they can believe and take the ksuba. So who are these 3 women? Ha'imeres, a woman says Tmeani, a woman says, I am usher to you. So over there, we're talking about a case of a woman who's married to a Kohen. She's married, she's Ashes Kohen. And even if she is violated against her will, she becomes usher to her husband and must divorce her husband. So if she says, I was violated, I'm usher to you, then she takes her ksuba and leaves. If she says, Shamai beni levinecha, if she says basically that her husband does not have the ability, he's Yerek Chetz, he's not have the ability to go ahead and have children, right? To conceive, she can't conceive a baby from the husband, it's his fault. Then she is believed. That's another thing. If she says basically physically he can't have children with me or with anybody. Or if she says, or if she says that basically having relations is too painful and difficult for me, and therefore I am forbidden from all people, then once again, since it's impossible for the marriage, so therefore, something physical, she can go ahead and take her ksuba and she gets divorced. So that was in the beginning, she is believed to say all these claims. However, it did not seem good because it seems like this is like a get out of jail free card for the women. They can just go ahead and make this claim and be believed and get their money and then go off and run off with another man. So what do? They said, if a woman says I was violated and therefore I'm also to my husband who's a Kohen, so Tavi Raya, she has to be proved that she was violated, or otherwise that she doesn't get her money. If she says that basically he cannot have children with me, then we should appease him. But nevertheless, she's not believed that this is the issue, and we should, that he should, try and stay with him. If not, then he could divorce her if he so chooses. And she says, I am forbidden, to having relations with any person or all the Jews, including my husband. So Yafir Lechelko, you should go ahead and revoke the portion that applies to him to have relations with her husband. And she should be mishamish with him. However, she's still forbidden to other Jews. Fine. So that was the mission. So in the beginning, first, she was believed enough that she gets her get and her ksuba. And then, however, after that, we see she was no longer believed. The Chachamim were, they were suspicious of her having her eyes on another man. A question was raised. Amra labayla timeya ani mahu shetoicha b'truma. A woman says she's married to a Kohen. I was violated. So what is the halacha? Can she go ahead and eat truma? So Sheshes Omar Oicheles Shelatatzilas Albanel. She still goes ahead and eats, right, truma, because in order not to go ahead and have suspicion about her children, because her children, she says she's violated. Perhaps if we see that she's not eating truma, it could be that somebody else was their father. So in order to avoid other people saying that, that the Kohen is not their father, we say she can go ahead and eat the truma. And Rabbi Omar, no, she can't eat. So because she can eat chulin, and people won't necessarily be suspicious and question the paternity of the children. And Omar Rava.
At that point, she's divorced.
So we said, but that she, unless she brings proof, right? The Mishnah Rishona, right, seemed to say.
Even if she doesn't bring proof, she can continue to eat truma.
Right. According to the Rav Sheshes. According to Rav Sheshes. I'm sorry?
It should be enough that they see the kids eating the truma.
The kids eating truma. Yeah, but she doesn't have nemanos legabe somebody else. In other words, a person has nemanos legabe themselves, but definitely when it comes to others, they're not neman la'isra love. In other words, to ask something upon somebody else. And they have a chazaka that they were eating truma, unless there's proof just by her claim.
It was a Mara sign. That's what they're talking about.
Right. So you're saying if she's not eating
truma, you know the kids are the fathers.
Right, or she doesn't have the power to remove them. And if she's eating and they're eating, so everything is fine. Let's say she's not eating and they're eating, right? So you'd say, okay, well, everything is fine there. But people could say that maybe, right.
But if she's motzi laws on them, they shouldn't
Right.
be eating even though they are.
So it could be that, right, Shalom Tzilaz, the Kevin Chazal, right, yeah.
Okay.
It was a good point, though. Because if she's not eating, they're eating, so, right, but maybe people would have the lumdus and say, maybe she was violated, but she doesn't have, she doesn't have the ability to ask for them, but it could be that, they're not their father's children. So the Gemara says, and Rabbi Marina because she chulin, right? It's not really, you won't raise suspicion. And Amar Rava, Maider Rav Sheshes She'im is Armala, if she becomes widowed, right? So in other words, let's say, so Rav Sheshes says she should eat. But once he dies, right? If she's a cheles, if she becomes widowed, she'ein a cheles meeting with time elam mishum the taitzilas abanav. Because over there, the whole point is that not to go ahead and have rumors about her children, and once again, she's no longer having children. She's no longer the marry the person. She's not somebody who goes out, and therefore, even though they were prior children, but these, I guess current children, but she should refrain from eating. So they'll say, Amra Hashadin the East. They'll say, not only now she was violated, and therefore, but now when they were born. And Amar Papa Bodiklan Rava Eishes Conscienza Yesh Laksuba in Laksuba. Check for us. What's the halacha? A woman who's married to a Kohen, if she's violated, does she have a ksuba or does she not have a ksuba? So kevan the honest lagabi Kohen, since it's a case of an honest lagabi Kohen, karotza and lagabi so. Since we hold normally that a woman is usher, even in a case of honest, just like a woman who's married to a Yisrael and she is his mezana berason, if she has if she willingly is with another man, then she loses her ksuba. Is the same has to get divorced, is the same as a woman who was violated while she's married to a Kohen. So it should be the same thing. And just like over there, Ein La Ksuba, so just like over there by Yisrael, if a woman goes ahead and willingly is mezana with another man, she loses her ksuba. So to maybe a woman who was violated married to a Kohen loses her ksuba. Or perhaps we say Matzir Malah Ana Chazina, or say, hey, I'm over here. And it's your fault that you're the Kohen. In other words, I was violated. I really could stay married to you, but since you're a Kohen, that's on you. Why is it on me? V'amin Allah, and we say, oh, it's a masnizani. Let's look at the Mishnah. The woman says, I am to you. Yesh lo ksuba. She has a ksuba. Now, but my askina, what's the case over there? Israel. If we're talking about she was married to a regular Israel, so if she did it willingly, if she goes up and willingly has an affair with another man, she doesn't have a ksuba. And she's violated while she's married to a Yisrael. Does she become forbidden to her husband? She does not. Rather, what must that case be? Be'eshes Kohen. It must be a case of when she says Tameani, when she's married to a Kohen. Now, if we're talking about Baratzon, Klumi Ksuba, she doesn't have Ksuba, right? Migar Meishes Yisrael, is that Baratzon, is she any different than Eshes Yisrael Baratzon? Of course not. She does, for sure she doesn't have Ksuba. Elah. Rather talking about a woman who says she was violated and she was married to a Kohen. Viktani, Yesh Lo Ksuba. And it says over there she has a Ksuba. Fine. Iboilu. Now comes the question of the day. Then we have a couple of maisim. Omra lebaila gerishtani. She says, "You divorced me. I lost my get, but I'm going to go ahead and marry another man." The guy's like, "What are you talking about?" Now, so is she believed to say that? Is she believed to say that this so and so this man divorced me, and therefore she's able to go ahead and marry another man? So Tashma, let's go look at our Mishnah talking about cases where and when a woman was believed. If a woman says, I'm tummy to you. Now, even according to the Mishnah Achrona, which we say bring proof, which you say she's not believed, the other over there, she can lie because over there she knows whether she's violated or not, but the husband would have no idea. About Gabe Gerishtani, but in the case of what she says, you divorced me, the other maybe what he would know just like her, so she wouldn't lie to his face. So therefore, she should be behemna. She should believe the chazaka enisha meiza panel. The chazaka woman wouldn't go ahead and embarrass herself in front of her husband. So therefore, according to Rav Hamnuna, a woman is believed. Now, Rav Shita's opposite. Rav Shita, she is not believed, right? She's a scam artist. Amalei Rava, Adarabba. I feel the missionary shine, even though the missionary shine, which we say a woman is believed to say Tmeani, the Ketani Mehemna, when she's believed, over there is because she wouldn't go ahead, right, and to go ahead and embarrass herself. So therefore, that she's believed of the zinin, the sakifla, right? Perhaps she becomes so angry with her husband, right? Right, she'll be happily go ahead and fight him and embarrass herself. So she'll say, "Yeah, you divorced me." He's like, "What are you talking about?" So she doesn't care. So she's willing to do it, and therefore that's the reason why she's not believed, because a woman is willing to do that. And Mason Ramashashia is a question for the second case. Hashemayim beini levanecha, right? Basically, it's not in the stars for me and you to have children, right? She basically says that I want to have children to take care of me later in my life. And he can't provide for me. He's not able physically to have children. He's not a Mazriya Karoi, and therefore it's not a good shidduch. Now, according to this case, Rav Asharsh, the Mishnah Rishayna, so in the Mishnah Rishayna, they would say she's believed. So to Yufta the Rav, we see over there that since she's believed over there, right? So we say that. So she's believing that case. So she's believing that case of something between him and her. So over here in the case of Gerish Tani, she should be believed. So hacha the less like Kisufa, because over there is no embarrassment, right? It's not a thing of embarrassment like the case of, right? So therefore, and she's believed. So to be believed over here, so Ksava Rabba Hasam Kevan Delay. Over there, no, there is embarrassment. Since over there, the reason why she's believed is because she says he's not Yarek Chetz, right? He doesn't have the ability to have children physically. He's not Yarek Chetz, right? Shoot like an arrow. In other words, to go ahead and impregnate her. He's not Yarek Chetz. So therefore, that's an embarrassing statement. And therefore, Ilo Isa right? If that was the case, that it wasn't true. So therefore, she wouldn't have said it, but she said it. So therefore, that's the reason why she's believed. But in the case of you divorced me, that's not embarrassing, says Rava, and therefore she should not be believed. And then Hashemayim Beni Levanecha. So let's look at the same case. Hashemayim Beni Levanecha, the Mishnah Achrona, according to the Mishnah Achrona, to the Rav Nuna, according to the Mishnah Achrona, which is not believed, right? It should be a kasha on Rav Nuna, because Rav Nuna says a woman is believed to say Gerishtani, but she's not believed to say Hashemayim Beni Levanecha. Bahacha the Yada he Ubaila Yadaba. Over there, both of them would know whether it's Yara Kechetz, and nevertheless, we say she's not believed. So why is she believed in this case of where she says you divorced me, and he says I didn't divorce you? Why is she believed in that case? So the answer is he gufa amri in the heat of yada Kechetz biyada, right? He might be aware that they're having bia, right? No, but he's unaware of his Yara Kechetz. He's unaware of Yarek Chetz, so therefore he doesn't know that. Only she has the ability to know whether it's Yarek Chetz, and if that's the case, therefore that's the reason why Rav Hamuna would say that she is believed in not the other. Fine. Now comes a couple fun nice. How easy is up? The Chayim the Tashish Makme Masha Yade Lagaber. Every day when they have relations in the evening, the next morning she would go ahead and wash her husband's hands. However, so one day she brought water, and she says, "Why you bring the negabasser cup?" We didn't have there's no tashish last night. Why are you bringing the negabasser? I had relations last night. If it wasn't you, it could have been one of those the nachrim, right? Who were right? They were one of the goyim, right? As Rashi says, the nachrim machiyah. So haka. Ida iant lo. So he says, right? So he says, Haka Ida iant lo Dilma minho. Says if it wasn't you, that it was probably one of the workers that were here. So of Nachman, so maybe she believed, right? We're talking about she's married to a Kohen, and his name is Ines because she was unaware, and therefore she should be asked her husband in such a case. However, Rav Nachman, Einea nasna be'acher, v'les ba mishamsha b'mila. No, we say that perhaps her eyes are on another man, and therefore she's just making up this excuse as a way to force her husband to divorce her in order so she can go ahead and marry another man. Similar by the Gabra. So one time, I guess there was a woman that didn't have such a good relationship with her husband. So so what's the problem? So says now I'm never in pain from Tashmish. Now I'm in pain. What are you talking about? We didn't have relations last night. Why are you saying you're in pain? Right? It must be that if it wasn't you, it was one of the workers that were here. Perhaps he's one of them. So once again, Rav Nachman, right? Don't pay attention to her words because she's looking, at another man. And Tumar Maisim Havi, how Gavadavi Marzik Basic. So one time, I guess a person was alone with a woman in the house, right, without the husband there. So one time, so what happened? So the husband came back, and she was with this other man, and then she jumped through the wall, through the plants, whatever it was. He was made aware. The husband heard the guy jump out the window, right? Broke the window. So he realized that she was in the house with another man. Samaraba is a sharia. She is mutter. Why is that? Because if there was a maisa, he would have basically left quietly, right? But since he didn't leave quietly, he jumped through the window, broke the window, or jumped through the plants there and knocked out the wall. The husband was made aware there was another man there, but obviously the man wasn't guilty, or else he would have gone out quiet. And finally, I would like to Gabi have
I don't know how much I could buy this.
Here's another case. This is the kicker. This one. One time there was a nayef, an adulterer. He was in a certain woman's house. Asa Gabra, right? So the husband came home, and so selling nayef Isa the Kaloi Baba. So he went to hide behind the curtain.
Right.
So Havi Mechlan Tachli Taman Tamunin Chiva. So there was a piece of some cress there that was bitten, I guess, was eaten from by a poisonous snake. So basically, this cress was poisonous, and this adulterer, right? So the adulterer was in the house. The husband came home. He went to hide behind the curtains, and there was this cress that was poisonous on the ground. So boy married the base of the Meichel min hanu tachli the insa, right? So the husband wanted to go ahead and eat the cress. The wife didn't see, and he was going to go ahead and eat it. So the adulterer from behind the curtains said, right? The Talmud Chava. He says, don't eat from that cress. You're going to die. In other words, he exposed himself. He goes, Samaraba, so Ansa Sharia, right? The wife should be mutter. Why? Right? Because if he was guilty, he would have wanted him to go ahead and eat the cress and die, and therefore he would have fine. See, the pasuk says, right? Because adulterers have blood on their hands. In other words, he would have been happy. He would have been happy for the husband to die. So Gemara says, so therefore we must hold that he was innocent. So Gemara says, Pshita, it's obvious. Somehow the table just said he saw of it. Maybe they did do it innocent. Right? Maybe it was better for him not to die. Wow. Because in order for her to remain usher, because mine because perhaps it could have been that forbidden waters, tastes better for her to be married and this guy to be alive. So he continued doing his Maisa, and then we won't finish the last few words. We had to worry about what's it called? See, I'll probably speak to you.